Hello friends, it is I, Rob, once here, more in my basement lair, with an unboxing video, and I've been waiting a long time to show this one to you, as I have been longing to run my hands over this particular item. Now, a long time ago, one of the first Kickstarters that I ever backed was a company called Dwarven Forge, who used to make resin products that were a 3D dungeon that you could put into place and make your dungeon and make it look really pretty, so that when in a role-playing game people were moving their characters through, you could be immersed a little bit easier. You could actually see the action playing out in front of you. It helped to make the visuals of the tactics and everything work better, and it just looked really cool. It was a wow thing to do for your players. So for the very first one that Dwarven Forge did, they did a dungeon sampling. They created a new plastic mix called Dwarvenite, which is incredibly resilient. And they made some options which were interesting. It cost them a lot of money to make the dies for these products to inject the plastic into and form the pieces. So to help cover their costs, they ran a Kickstarter. And we provided the capital, they made the stuff, and they threw in, as stretch goals, lots and lots and lots of extras. So back in the day, I backed and got several sets of them. And the pieces themselves are pretty excellent. I don't get them painted because I don't like their paint job. Not that the quality of their paint job isn't good, it's just I don't like the colors they use, so I do my own. But you can see, the bricks, the ground's laid out in 1-inch grids so that you can move the characters around relative space. I got some curving pieces, and it's not all uniform. Some of the bricks are a little bit bigger, not well set, to make it seem a little bit more realistic. It takes the paint pretty well. This was a dungeon setting that I made using the paint. Giving it that nice dark color, made for a great evil temple. Came with pieces like doors. 3D doors are pretty cool, with a variety of styles and such. And of course the cornerstone, the 2x2 floor tile. So with those pieces and with all of the stretch goals and everything, I had stairs and pedestal blocks and pillars and all kinds of things with the first. It was a decent value, and I've used them a fair amount. When I really want to make an impression, I whip these out. When I want to set up a really special encounter in my games, I've used them in the past. So I get some value out of them. But they are somewhat limited. You have to plan things out. You have to be ready to use them. And it involves a fair amount of work, painting things the way you want, and you still have to use your imagination to some extent. And while I have a decent amount of tiles, I can't do absolutely anything I'd like to do. But this came today. This is the Dungeon of Doom Kickstarter, or at least part of it. The actual full dungeon, if you bought the basic set, was a little pricey for me. So what I did was I scaled back. I got part of it. They broke the total selection into, I believe it was 16 different scenarios that you could link together in a dungeon. Each one of them is completely modular, so it's actually made up of a lot of different components. They have a lot of things in here, which I hope to show you for this unboxing. So, let's do this. And yes, it does say on the side, "Fragile, thank you," and the box is accordioned. That's lovely. Fortunately, my faith in the product is pretty strong. I'm fairly certain that the everything inside of it is fine. And I've also heard the Dwarven Forge is good at working through issues like that. My contempt for your tape is tremendous. But of course, got to be careful not to cut yourself. That'd be horrible if I shot a video and gashed myself. It looks so incredibly stupid, and my son would have to call for an ambulance or something if I really did a number on myself. Okay. So, I'm going to take this off the table and pull everything out to show you. I'm not entirely certain how it's packed. It might be packed in counter at a time. It might be all laid out singly, so almost done. Again, not cutting myself. Okay, well, the good news is, this is of course made in China. That's where the processes are cheap enough that they can do this and make money off of it. So, first thing that we see, packing paper. Now, as I said, I didn't get everything. They broke everything up into, I believe, 16 different encounters. They had a difficulty in process with making a piece that was in later editions. It's an elevation platform that can hold multiple pieces, thank you, and allows you to add verticality to your layout. Those aren't included in the first 6, though, so I ordered the first 3 and then the 6th. Alright, so they laid them out. One big box with several boxes. We have box, let's see. This is box number 2 for the second encounter. And this is number, does it have the throne? Yes, this is encounter 1, which we'll be opening first. The broad one is encounter 6 because it has a very large piece in there that they couldn't put in a smaller one, which should be fun. And encounter 3, which has a lot of bricks in it. Now, also I ordered more than these. They will be coming. Those are the sets that have the different other encounters and some of the add-ons that I have also purchased. The Wakizashi is a little too cumbersome to open the smaller boxes, so we're going to go with smaller hardware here. Plus, I don't want to, I don't think I can damage much in here, but I do want to show you. Now, each of these sets, they already came up with a layout to make a room or an encounter or a suite of rooms. And I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to show you the individual pieces as they come out. Also, they were nice enough to put in a canvas tote. They did it for the first one. This one is a sharp black. And backer, Dungeon of Doom. It is a sturdy tote, which is more than capable of carrying a couple sets of these. Although, compared to all of the pieces that I hope to get, nope. Alright, thank you for your support. This is a very nice letter from Stefan Pokorny, the mad genius behind Dwarven Forge. Brilliant sculptor, pretty decent guy. A little bit of a loon, but fun. Alright, now we have a lot of pieces in plastic. Taking a look. So, we're going to have some pieces that are going to look somewhat familiar. They kept the general idea of the same shapes, but now, to make them stand out a little bit, this one is vaulted. It's got the pillars running along the sides and the arch over the entrances. So I can make this much more dramatic. I can color individual pillars, or well, there's a lot that I can do. So These are for ringing around the main room. You see these end pieces can be used to form, you know, alcoves or string along with sections of walls. So we have, of course, several floor pieces. Interestingly enough, they have sockets in the bottom of them now because they have a magnet layout. Several of their trays are tiled with metal that's painted. So if you are going to have your pieces in a possibly, you know, shaky or not entirely secure place, you might be tempted to use these magnets on things. Now these are exciting. These are, at first glance, they are, you know, the vaulted wall sections. But here's what really got me excited in this Kickstarter in general. We have bits and bobs and pieces, some of which are sealed away. But with a little bit of oomph and my little blade here, my little friend. Now, yes, this is going to have a lot of small pieces to it. Yes, if I am at all intelligent, I am going to be taking a lot of these pieces and I'm going to be putting them in Ziploc baggies right away, which I will be doing. So, but what I can do with this, which is awesome, I got a little tab here I pull out, and it's got, this is a torch with two little metal prongs, which fit into the barely noticeable two little metal receptacles on the wall. Which should fit into the two little metal receptacles here. There we go. Like so. And then we'll switch on the bottom. And now it glows. And it's got a flicker effect too, which is kind of neat. And the switchboard is right on the back. I can turn it off as I wish. So, and let Alex have a look. He's off camera helping me out here. Now, torches are cool. Ooh. But they also, because of the Kickstarter, they added on different things. And one of the themes of this dungeon set was snake worship. There's a snake guy called Sisul. And so, if you want to add a little bit more sinisterness to it, they have also, in addition, which again, socket into these wall pieces. I'll get to it eventually. There we go. The sockets in there, and then we throw the switch, and we've got a glowing green mystical orb, which is kind of cool. Because the entirety of the thing is not illuminated, I might even be able to paint the snake that's at the base of this orb. But having this extra level, this extra effect, and it does flicker, is a nice little bit of showmanship that I add to my repertoire of sorts. So, got a bunch of 4 torches and 4 orbs that came with it. And here's another thing that I really liked. Double doors. You have the pillars. You have a part that just slides down, capping it off. And you have doors that you can socket in. You just put the doors in place into the little pegs on the ground. Little pegs and peg holes. And then this drops down, the overarch goes in, and should lock up with the door pieces. May require a little finagling, but then the doors shut like so, and can be opened. So, again, very dramatic, very nice look, begging to be painted. And prettying up a little bit. So those were some of the effects that I was looking towards. Now I'm going to be largely, when I see them, I will be largely skipping those similar pieces. There's a lot of them. Door with pillars on either side. Kind of cool. This was another good idea that they had too. These are standing wall pieces, but they have a slider that goes underneath a tile to hold it in place so that you can get more flexibility on how you arrange rooms. Something like this was a really good idea. With the first one, they had freestanding walls which just fall over at the drop of a hat. Now that I have these, that's not as much of a concern. So, good move on their part. Very good move. We have a couple more of the vaulted wall pieces. Those are straight walls. Those parts do not have the sockets. It's important to note. Then we have a narrow floor piece. You need some of these to kind of make some of the rooms work with the floor plans. We have a very nicely sculpted throne. This is called Zaltar's Game Room for the dungeon set. Zaltar's a mad wizard, and this is kind of his throne. There's a table. There's a weapon rack. Again, just dying to be painted. So I've got my work cut out for me here. Oh yes. We'll get to this in just a sec. Okay, there's a couple of these weapon racks, which are cool. There's this kind of a miniature dungeon layout. So Zaltar is playing with the players, and it is organized so that you can put that on top of the table so the players can go, oh, that is a map layout so that he can watch us, which is interesting enough. Now, nope, that doesn't do it. All right. We also have vaulted corner pieces. This can help you make angled walls. And I'm looking for... Nope, still no.
What is this?
That is a hole that you can mount a magnet into.
Oh, interesting. Good job. Good job.
This alcove is kind of one of those grandstand centerpieces. It's got two sockets for the flaming torches or what have you. It also has, and this really I enjoy a lot, there's a magnet that is set into the centerpiece. So if you want to spring a trap on your players, there are a number of magnetic gimmicks that you can put in. In this case, that would be a crossbow trap. So your players would trigger it. Mechanically, the trap comes out of the wall, but as the dungeon master, I would just take the trap and I would, oh, you sprang that. I could leave that there. The players have a reminder of that trap being there, which is pretty cool. we have...
How the heck do you...
It's a magnet.
Yeah, I know.
The magnet side there goes on the wall. This side, it sticks.
Oh.
Another interesting idea, they had a freestanding arch, which you can use as an archway to allow people to travel from one room to the other, but it also has a slide so that you can put in, say, a secret door. Or it also included bars that you could put in. Possibly as a portcullis, or just maybe as a way so that somebody can see through both ways to help out sentries and the like. Finally, there is a large tiled floor section. This is 4x4. It's got a neat design around the edge. It's got a neat design around the edge. It's kind of a braided look, but yeah, it looks pretty sharp. And again, when all of these are painted up, they should be pretty sharp. I said I don't really care entirely for the default paint job. It's because they paint all of the bricks, a lot of them with different colors, scattering the different colors. And personally, I don't find that to be terribly realistic. If you're going on a project of building a dungeon, you probably have a single quarry, which is probably making one or maybe two kinds of different stones, different colorations. I know it adds some visual appeal, but all in all, to me, that's not as important as kind of creating a hegemony of you know, your concept of what you're shooting for. And yes, the glowing torches and glowing orbs are everything that I had anticipated. I'm very happy with these. These are so cool. So we're going to take all of these little doodads. In time, we're going to take out all the orbs and we're going to put them in a single bag, and we're going to take out the torches and put them in a single bag. But for now, we're just going to set these aside. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So that was the first encounter, Zoltar's Lair. And I think everything was in there. I'm not going to be doing... No, leave it, please. Thank you.
Okay.
I'm just going to set this down here. Later I'll do an inventory to make sure that I'm not missing anything, but that looks pretty complete. And if it's not, well, I'll talk to Dwarven Forge about that. Okay, this one is called, I believe, the Gauntlet. This is a section of corridor, so it's got more wall pieces, more corner pieces, but it's got a lot of your traps, and it's got a couple of neater doors. So, block of Chinese styrofoam. Again, thank you for your support. I'm going to be thanked a lot. Okay, so we have here... First of all, we have some freestanding small wall sections. Again, helping with the turns and making enough room for the various doors. It's a nice innovation that I really like. The plate itself is thinner plastic. It's not overwhelmingly impressively durable plastic, but let's see if it works. We'll hope so. And then this one has this little symbol on the bottom, which means I believe these are magnetic for the traps. To me, that's the feature of this section. Most people who back the Kickstarter, the first level was just getting Zoltar's game room. After that, oh, also, on the bottom of the piece, they have a little lightning bolt symbol to show that they're the magnetic pieces. I forgot they were going to do that, but they did. So, all right, so we've got some more wall and floor connection walls. And we have some floors as well as some 2x1 flooring sections. Again, giving yourself some flexibility in how you're going to arrange the floor plan. Now, this is fun. This is a floor section with, surprise, pit traps, spikes. So the players move to get onto that. You say, not so fast, yoink, and
Ooh, pokey.
ouch, yes. And they have a metal plate on it. So as a DM using this, I can have my cow magnet, which is quite strong, and I can just put it on, lift it up, and boom, spikes are revealed. I don't have to get all fiddly with it, which is cool. Very good idea for design. And I've never found, the Dwarven Forge products to be poor in design. And we have some corner pieces. Again, cunningly arranged with your ability to make them freestand in a variety of circumstances. Also, these plates, never mind. Did I say those were cheap plastic? Those are metal. So, yeah, that could be handy. Here are some of the Kickstarter pieces that they came through with. Walls of Force. Invisible plastic swirly walls. That is... It doesn't hurt that, I have players who are looking at getting spells like Wind Wall and such, and, I didn't have an effect for it, just to draw a line on the battle mat, but now I've got a 3D Wind Wall here. That's exciting. And we have a warded door here. One side looks fairly normal. The other side has this nice elaborate look to it. That'll be fun. Their paintings for those were always really dramatic with using gold in the center seal. I will probably be copying that for these. Then we have some more corner walls, which are the backbone of any good dungeon layout. We have an alcove here. The alcove is powered. It has the socket there that you can put into action. Not going to take that one out. We've seen what this does. I'm not testing all the toys just yet. But that means it comes with another orb and another torch for that, which is awesome. I had a hard time saying no to anything that had torches, because to me that it's just another layer of design detail that you can throw and impress your players with. Now we come with all the traps. We have, oh yes, the torch and orb again. Got those, which is cool. We have a swinging blade. Well, let's find one of those magnet pieces, shall we? There we go. This one's a magnet piece. So the idea is, party member walks along and all of a sudden, nope, swing blade trap. And now it's stuck there so that they can see how it protruded out of the wall to stabby them. Also, we have a couple of snake quarter columns that will go, those were also, I believe, Kickstarter powered. We also have a wall glyph. This is also magnetic. So I do have a penchant for using runes and other little nasty traps for my players, where just walking by some of these runes can cause painful explosions and things. So, yeah, I like that. And I've got another swinging blade, so I can have a couple of those. And another thing they included is a golf tee. It's not really a golf tee, it actually has a magnet on the inside. So I can use that to quickly grab the magnetic pieces to pull and insert. So I like that. Good job, you guys. And then also, to help continue to build out the rooms, we've got more corner pieces. Inside corner pieces, so that you can, make that wall really stand out. And then I've got some more wall sections, again with the metal plate on the bottom to hold them underneath the floor pieces. And finally, floor pieces. More floor pieces. Yes. I will be able to make a truly immense dungeon after this because I have tons of flooring. I can make large rooms without a lot of restriction for all the different features and things that I want to do. Combining this with my original Dwarven Forge set will allow me to do some truly fun things. Don't think I'll even miss the parts of this that I didn't get, despite the fact they were large, very dramatic pieces. I'll do okay. We'll be fine. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, part 3. This is the lever room. Biggest thing about this is this adds more fiddly bits that are add character to your dungeon. It adds large feature. This is a really garbage knife, unfortunately, but it's just what I have on hand. And well, I'll show you what it's in, of course. Thank you for your... Yeah, thank you. I'm very happy to support my friends at Dwarven Forge. I wish their stuff was a little less expensive, because I would love to do even more, but...
Why is there boxes and boxes?
We'll find out. I suspect they...
Seems a little ridiculous.
Well, it isn't, so just, sit there and watch. Okay, so... First of all, this looks like this is going to be most of the flooring and basic pieces. It's all very tightly packed in here, which is cool. We've got more of your vaulted wall sections. So these combined with the non-vaulted wall sections I have from the first one will, really let me stretch what I can do. So this room was faced on one really, really large room with a central feature of curving circular arches and doors. So yes, even more wall sections with the pillars. They're all vaulted. And then again, remember that arch that I was able to put the bars into, or the secret door? Yeah, I've got that too. And floor sections. You need your floor. If you don't have a floor, you don't have much of a dungeon. These aren't going to be the wow pieces as much. Oh, and here I lied. Here is a demi pedestal in a corner. And yes, that has a socket for torches or glowing orbs. Or one of the things they have in this one are kind of glowing force runes. Which, if you think about it, would be really dramatic. As players solve puzzles and things, you can make the runes glow before them. It adds some video game styling, visual effect to what you would otherwise be describing. Here we have... Is that going there? Okay. We have a few plates that have runes on them. Scratch marks on the other side.
Kind of a hieroglyphic.
Yeah,
Sort of.
some kind of a glyph. And they inset into something. We'll find out what those are for in just a second. It's been over a year since I ordered these, so I'm not 100%. We have another door with pillars. We have the bars and the secret door to socket for the alcove. Oh yes, here we go. What did you do with those? Thank you. Can just put them back here, please. So we have a floor section that you can put these runes into.
Ooh.
And those can be popped out, stood upright if you wanted to.
Oh, so it's like a trap. A pit trap.
You could use it as a trap, certainly. You could also use it as, just in general, a way to add more feature to a space that already has a lot of feature in this game so far. It's like a trapdoor that you can then open. So we also have another 4x4 block. These make laying out a dungeon a little bit quicker, having larger feature pieces like that. There are 4 of these glowing runes.
Oh.
Alex, you want to get that phone, please?
Yes, I will.
Thank you. So that's pretty cool. We have a pedestal. And we have all these levers. Like so. And there's a magnet on top. Okay. And I've got 4 of these levers. Now, I don't recall. I'm guessing several of these wall sections should be magnetic so that I can put the levers on them for the party to deal with. Here's another one of those corner pieces with the LED sconce. Some of these bags are tied off, some of them are not, just wadded up. If you were, having to fulfill an order and fill lots and lots and lots of these boxes, yeah, I don't blame them for that. Okay, we have some slightly curved wall sections. Again, they have the nice arches. So, 4 of those. All good?
Yep, that was Mom.
I know. And so there's 4 of these with the central light source. So, total of 4 of those. And again, too, those light up effects are interchangeable. You can put the torches in them if you want. And I'll have a number of torches. You can put the green orbs in, or you can use those white runes.
Oh,
What did I just put?
oh, found them. Found it.
Thank you, Alex.
You're welcome.
Now we go to the second box from this, which are the larger pieces by the looks of it. Oops. A little overzealous there. Now, I don't hold these encounters to any kind of sacredness individually. I'm going to be putting all of these things like pieces with like pieces so that I can use them when I want to build, but I may just throw everything together the way they had things in the campaign just for show. If I do, that'll be a later video. Okay, now we get to some of the larger pieces. These are the large circular sections that I was talking about. They've got a gap between where you can put those rounded pieces if you want to make them
like a hidden door.
all one. Or you can, knock them out and not have that there. Either way, gives you a lot of latitude with how you can organize your pieces. And as you can see, if that is in there, it's a fairly tight fit, and it looks pretty much like it belongs there. I think the section is one continuous bricked and pillared area. And there's 4 of these in here. So that is a rather large effect. Also, because of the round surface, the flooring gets a little out of whack. So they have these pieces to compensate for that. So these go to fill in sections. So you can have continuous dungeon pieces, even though one surface of this is round, which is clever. They did that on the first Kickstarter as well. And here we also have a couple of torches.
Hey.
More torches. Love them.
We really have to have a lot of...
Now, since I won't be using this too often, I hope the batteries will last a while. Okay, these are angled freestanding pieces. Because they're angled, they don't need a wide base. They do pretty well on their own. But these can be useful if you have a floored area to create subsections that you, on a set of flooring that you already have in place. Again, it gives you some flexibility with designing and tinkering with rooms as you go. You generally set the larger pieces in place for the grand room design, and then you can wall off sections for interior room or interior walls with things like that. Okay, so we will be again doing the math later, but we have 4 torches in here, 4 of the round walled sections, and wait a second. That's interesting. These are magnetic. My magnet reveals that, yeah, these are magnetic.
Oh, for traps.
Traps are those levers that I had initially.
Oh.
Now I heard there was supposed to be some sort of symbol on the walls themselves that show you which ones are magnetic, but I'd be darned if I can see it. Then again, my eyes aren't what they used to be. Still, very cool. Very cool, and I'm just itching to use these. I
think I can see the...
1, 2, 3, and 4. Yes, those are there. Alright, so that's 3 of the encounters done.
I don't see any symbol.
I didn't either. That's fine.
I think they might have forgot to...
Oh, we'll take a look. We'll see. And then finally is it's called Acid Bath.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. This one I really do want to be careful I don't go in and scratch, because there's something in here that could be scratched. I don't want to do that. Thank you for your support. They are very thankful. Here is the primary... Well, that's how I got its name.
Oh.
A large metal plate.
Of acid.
Of acidy goodness. The flip side of which is dungeon stone. But the neat thing is stone, acid. The metal is underneath. This is sealed so that, it doesn't have any sharp edges, number 1. Number 2, it can't get scraped off. This is fabric. And it looks pretty acidic. That's pretty acidy. In here, what made this piece cool, a couple of things. Number one, it's got elevated arches, which I really didn't have a lot before. I had a couple pieces that added some 3D to it, but I've got 4 large arches, so I could put them together to make a bridge. I could string them together to make a walkway. Lots that I can do with that. The imagination boggles. And then we have ramps to get up onto the elevation arches, or down from them. We have more metal-based wall sections. Cadre 5 of those. Okay, and another interesting thing. Apparently these got magnets to them, because I have magnets inset into these pieces.
Magic wants to visit.
Yeah, she does. So all of these little 1x1 blocks, they have magnets so that they work with the acid bath, which I forgot I added. So, yay! Not all of them do, though. This one does not, for instance, this 2x1. But this one does. Okay. Oh, I see. So, interesting note, going forward, those magnets can get disgorged. They don't appear to be glued in there. They just appear to be stuck. That's interesting to know. It also means that I'm probably going to be adding some glue so they stay behaved. But they stick together pretty well. And got a number of 1 foot by 2 foot, or sorry, 1 inch by 2 inch sections. I forgot how many bags they use. Okay, so again we have corner pieces with the flat metal stabilizers. Even on these corner pieces that are 1 inch by 1 inch, they were a little rocky in the first ones that didn't have that stabilizer piece, so that's a welcome addition. Especially since you're largely going to be using them with the floor pieces. That's aces in my eyes. Then we've got elevated 2x1 platforms. And a pillar. These are hollow, which probably helps the weight and everything. Also, these have little holes in them. Dwarven Forge had a castle set that used these holes for things like putting buttressing gargoyles and things on, which I don't have, but maybe in the future, who knows. Since my budget is used up, I'm probably not going to be buying anything for a while like these, but here's even more of the stabilized walls. This is just going to be a fun piece to put together and use. I'm really looking forward to playing around with all the different things that I can do with these. These are 2x2 blocks. Again, this adds elevation and stability rather than using all the single pieces together. This is a little bit larger to anchor a larger elevated platform. And if they're tap dancing over lava, or acid, or spikes, or what have you, that's all fair game. 4x1 magnetized blocks. There's 6 of those. Very good. And part of the fun of this one, looks like we have more of the 1 inch wide wall sections. So added to the others, yay, even more that I can do. As part of the character, I've got a mutant 2-headed crocodile miniature. In the dungeon gray, he's not that pretty, but when I'm gonna definitely make him acid green too. He'll be fun. So Also, very cool. Again, that was a Kickstarter add-on, so people who are not in the Kickstarter will probably be able to buy that separately. Because I don't imagine they throw the molds away after they do this stuff. So we have wall traps again. The scything blade. We have. Oh yes. We're gonna set these aside, and I'll show you that in a second. But yeah, a couple of those walls are magnetic because we have scything blades. We have some small stair pieces, adding on to the legion of small stair pieces that I have with the other sets. So. Again, elevation, relatively simple thing. Like I said, I'm going to show those to you in just a sec. Let's see. This was also a fairly sizable set, but I thought it was a good value for what came in it, so I added it onto my plan as a standalone. Are these magnetic? Interesting things, the floor plate is magnetic, of course, because it's metal. I've got one that folded in transit. That's going to be a danger with the thin metal, is them folding, but fortunately they go right back. So more freestanding wall sections. Cool. The plate is smooth enough that pieces sit just fine on it, and the ones with the magnets should fit really fine on it. Takes a little bit for them to come off, so they'll be more stable as a result. Okay, and then another thing that attracted it. I love visual features, and here's another visual feature piece. This is a platform with an odd socket and power. And here we have the glowing snake platform with glowing crystal. So we're really going with the snake thing to the hilt here. The flickering is awesome. I'm glad they went with flicker lights. And there's two of them here. And two of the snake statues. So my players are going to be finding snakes everywhere. Snakes, 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 snakes. And if you need to, you can have symbolic snakes. And then we have two more sections of flooring, again with the magnets. And I have two magnetic sections of wall for the swinging blade traps again. Oops. Now, because they're magnetic, but then the magnet is covered inside of this plastic, it'll hold. It won't put up with a great deal of abuse. So you're not going to be going whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The magnet holds enough to hold it in place and give you the idea of what it does. So, there were two other encounters which I did not get. So those people who have gotten their sets or are getting them, you've got lots of toys. But when the second half of my order comes through, which they're expecting the boat to get to them next week, and then they'll start shipping out again, so I will probably be anywhere from 3 to 6 weeks from now. We'll be getting another surprise. So I am looking forward to just taking these apart and putting them all together and figuring out exactly how awesome of a dungeon I can put together. But this is my unboxing of Encounters 1, 2, 3, and 6. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. I know I did. I will see you next time here in my lair of OmnusI. Thanks. Farewell.